watching a beautiful sunset? Well, today is the day you will learn to season your food that will remind you of the tropical setting.
Everyone, today we will learn a very basic sofrito recipe. I'm your host, Tariq Jones. Sofrito is used in cooking throughout the Caribbean. It's a fragrant blend of herbs and spices used to season countless dishes. There are different varieties of recipes to make for sofrito. For example, Dominican sofrito is made up of very finely chopped green, red, and yellow bell peppers, red onions, garlic, ground oregano, apple cider vinegar, tomato paste, water, and cilantro. While Puerto Rican sofrito is made up of green peppers, red peppers, caminero peppers, ají dulce peppers, Spanish onions, garlic, rocal chopped, and cilantro. To keep things simple, we will learn how to clean/prep, how to cut, how to blend, how to use/store. Now let's take a look at how to clean and prep the ingredients.
So let's get to know the ingredients that we'll be using. Parsley, red pepper, onion, garlic, culantro, green pepper, and cilantro. First, we'll start with the green pepper. Cut through the top of the green pepper and remove the stem and carefully cut around the core that contains all of the seeds. After cutting around the core, carefully remove the core and discard. Some of the seeds will be left over. Just go in and simply remove them with your hand. For this sofrito, you do not need the seeds. Although some sofritos do use seeds, for this one you do not. Do the same thing you did with the green pepper to the red pepper and carefully remove the core containing all of the seeds. Again, for the sofrito, you do not need any seeds. Also, please make sure you wash your vegetables, your cutting board, and your hands or utensils before beginning to cook anything. Next, we will take our onion and cut the top and bottom pieces off. This yellow onion is too large for us to use, so I'm going to cut it in half, save half of it for later, and use the other half for the sofrito. Make sure you remove all of the skin. We don't need that in a sofrito. And try not to cry when you cut them. And lastly, we're going to take the garlic. We just need at least 3 cloves, 2 good sized ones, and 1 small one. Fun fact about garlic, it's actually antiviral, or antivirus, antibacterial, and antifungal. So it's pretty good for your immune system if you can get past the sulfur-ish taste. To get the skin off the garlic, just cut one of the tops off and the skin should peel right off. If not, you're going to be there for a little bit playing with it until it comes off, and it's a little bit time consuming. So good luck.
That is a simple recipe with just 7 ingredients. Now again, there are there are a variety of different recipes as well as different tastes, some spicier than others, some sweeter than others. Now let's look how to cut the ingredients.
Another fun fact is there are male and female peppers. To distinguish between what's a male or a female pepper, the female actually has 4 bumps and the male has 3. Females tend to be sweeter than the male peppers. Now we're going to cut the green pepper, and you just need to remove the bottom part of the green pepper. There's no reason you need that. I don't cook with it. I think it's just waste. So just simply cut it off and discard it. For sofrito, since we are going to blend this, it doesn't really matter how you cut the pepper, as long as they're manageable sizes that won't disturb or won't cause any more trouble or issues for your blender.
I could have sworn I heard her say I don't fuck with it.
We're gonna do the same thing for the red pepper. Again, you just want to discard the bottom part or the bottom portion of the pepper. I don't use it. I guess some people do. Some people might find it a waste. I don't like it. I think it's not needed. I think it's garbage. Again, it doesn't matter how you cut the pepper as long as it's manageable and the blender that you're using can actually blend it or cut it up. Next, we're gonna cut that half of the yellow onion. It doesn't really matter again how you cut it, as long as you have a good grip on it. Try using bear paw. I'm not familiar with it. I can't use it. Just be careful not to cut your fingers. Again, manageable pieces what you want. Next is the garlic. You want to cut them up into the smallest pieces you possibly can. Since garlic is the smallest ingredient, the blender will have a little difficulty getting it. So a nice fine chop, or just as small as you can. The knife I'm using is not sufficient enough, so I'm going to have to switch knives. Bigger knife should help. You can easily just start classic rocking back and forth with the knife. Again, I'm not very proficient with knives. Another thing I like to do with the garlic is actually crush it while it's already chopped up, just for added flavor. Make sure all those juices come out. The next ingredient is the culantro. I use probably maybe 3 or 4 of the leaves, and then I just chop it up as much as I can. Again, the blender's going to take care of the rest. Next is the parsley. Do the same thing. A good handful is good enough. And then the cilantro, another handful. Make sure you wash it before you start chopping. And these are all your ingredients ready to go to the blender.
There are many other ways to make sofrito, like slicing each ingredient and not using a blender, or using a porter or mortar. The consistency of the sofrito sauce also varies, thick and chunky, paste-like, or like a puree. Also color either red or green. Now let's look at the blending ingredients.
And now that you have all the ingredients, it's time to use the blender. I actually have a Ninja. It works great. First, you want to put your red and green peppers together, since the peppers are basically the base and the main ingredients of the sofrito. It's best to do them separate and add ingredients as you go. Next, you want to add your onions. Why do you add your onions third? Is because onions are very strong and they can overpower the peppers. And then you want to add your cilantro, culantro, parsley, and garlic all in one shot. Garlic and onions, again, are very powerful, so you got to be careful how much you actually use. You want to blend them together for about 10 seconds or so, maybe 15 depending on your blender. You'll notice some of the pieces on top don't go down. Do not use your hand, use a fork when you push down the ingredients. Don't be an idiot, use a fork. There's sharp blades in there. And again, mix all the ingredients together for a couple of moments until you think, or to when you feel is good enough. You don't want a liquid, and you don't want something that's too chunky either. You want a good mixture in between. After you finish blending, just get ready to put them in a bowl.
Important to take a sample of the sofrito to see if it's to your liking. It is also your last chance to fix any mistakes. Now let's look at using and storing.
Now that you have your ingredients all together, blended, you just want to mix them actually in the bowl. Believe it or not, this is actually one of the most important steps. Just because this is the time where you can actually mix all of your ingredients together and really get a feel or smell or whiff or a taste for how your sofrito is going to come out. It's also your opportunity to figure out what ingredient you're missing, what ingredient is overpowering the other ingredient, or what needs to be added. Some people, I don't know why, but they choose to add adobo. Don't do that. You're just adding more sodium and you don't want that. Some people even add water to the sofrito. Don't do that. That's just going to take away some of the flavors from the natural juices. Please don't do that. That is idiotic. Don't do it. The last step is to find a suitable container for your sofrito. I'm using a glass jar. You can typically leave it in your fridge for up to 4 days. The longer you leave it in the fridge, the more seasoning and the more flavor it will add to your dish. Or, an example is what I'm going to do is I can use it right away. Sofrito is a very common ingredient or common seasoning or marinade in a Hispanic household, and particularly with Dominicans and Puerto Ricans. It's used a variety of different ways, but the most famous way is when it is going to be fried with either the rice or protein. Let's take a listen on how it sounds in the pan, and you can almost smell it through the screen. It will take a couple moments for it to fry before you add in your protein. In this example, I am using just ground beef. Sofrito is also a good marinade, as I mentioned before. Just mix in your protein with it. Make sure you get all and as much as you can. Mix it very, very well. And then just store it for later. Obviously, with protein or meat, you want to cook it the next day. But if you are Puerto Rican or you're Dominican and you make a good pernil, you know for a fact that pernil is going to sit with that sofrito for at least a week before you cook it. And you're good to go.
Today we learn how to make a very simple sofrito sauce using just 7 ingredients. Sofrito is used for stews, beans, and other dishes. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you learned something. I'm your host, Tariq Jones.
Tropical setting. Feel free to add in your own ingredients to enhance the sofrito to your likeness. Everyone's sofrito is different. Some even have the secret or special ingredients. Or you can just buy sofrito in your local grocery store. Just look for Goya products. I am your announcer, Tyrese L.